These three coins are from the nation of Chad. I've covered the cultural and history in my video over the Celtic deer. I have covered the mandala series in this video over the warthog, and today we get to dive deep into the murky water, getting our feet wet on this reptile. Welcome back to the Culture of Currency. We are closing in on 1,000 subscribers, so make sure you go to the video on my channel that looks like this and enter our giveaway where you can win one of my 1-ounce silver coins. Remember to really listen to what you need to do to enter that contest. Now let's get down to business. The nation of Chad, as you see here on this map, is a Western African country which we covered in length in this video over my first coin from Chad, which focused on a series of Irish or Celtic animals. These were extremely low mintage and have linked together a theme that I found in my second coin from Chad in the Mandala Warthog. Today's coin is also from the Mandala series. It would seem that Chad is making a position of taking popular designed themes and cultural prints from various historical cultures and producing series on those themes. This actually makes me enjoy some of the stuff coming out of Chad, as it seems now that I can draw a straight line to an intentional decision rather than Chad just trying to pander to profit. Speaking of profit, if you think that my content is profitable, please slap that like button so YouTube will send it to more people. Seeing as we have covered the cultural and historical positions of Chad in my other videos, I thought I would bring you some of the current relevance in so that you would better understand how Chad and really every nation has some benefit to offer from the world. After that, we will place this coin on our 60-point scale to see if it can elevate to the halls of elite status. Chad is currently walking a fine line both internally and with outside world partners. The inside turmoil is evident in the unprecedented protests which erupted due to an unconstitutional succession of power. President Derby was declared head of state after his father's death in 2021, which is a little bit of an issue as the constitution of that nation provides a line of succession which was not honored. This being said, protests led to violence, which led to the capture of many who human rights claims show evidence of torture and disappearances. There's been a little bit of a cooling off as recently the government released a large portion of those prisoners as a sign of peace. In more of a global sense, we know Western Africa has much to offer the world in terms of raw resources. We have seen many nations biting at the taste of those resources. An example would be in renewable energy. We have seen nations in this area use child labor to mine resources like cobalt so that the developed world could be more in compliance with treaties like the Paris Climate Accords. Tons of pollution, deforestation, and strip mining cause large ecological issues in an attempt to make developed nations look like they care about the environment, which is both ironic and a topic for another video. One area that is rather interesting and of note, which we see Chad acting, is with the American super company Exxon. This is one of the leading petroleum companies in the United States and as such have operations globally. Chad tried to buy Exxon's operations in their nation, but terms were never agreed upon. So what did Chad do? Chad decided that it would commandeer all assets as state property. This is both dangerous and illegal when it comes to international business standards, as this means Chad owns all of Exxon's infrastructure with no compensatory resolution. With such actions on a large company, it is my guess that many large corporate entities will either withdraw from Chad or recalculate their investments, as the risk of such actions taken by Chad warrant serious observation. Now that you're caught up to speed on some current events of Chad, let's place this coin on our 60-point scale. Seeing as we have already run a score on a coin from this series, we will probably mirror some of those scores. This obverse is a classic coat of arms. Africa has some of the coolest coats of arms in any other area of the world, in my opinion, and I think that is really because they highlight some of the awesome symbolism of their own land in the layout. If you want a detailed understanding of what you're looking at, I go over all of that in the Irish deer video. I will say we can tie in a current coin as the nation of Malta, which is a small island in the Mediterranean, just released a coin with a Maltese cross, obviously from Malta. And why I say that is that this coat of arms has a Maltese cross on it, so it kind of ties those two together. It is a balanced and beautiful design, awesome coat of arms, and it scores a 7. The reverse is now a return. This is a classic design as we have come to expect from Chad, which is both good and bad. Let's talk good first. The crocodile is a creature we rarely see featured, even though it is a very popular animal overall. Maybe this is because it's hard to create depth on such a long and flat animal, but I do think that the artist did a smart move in having the croc a little bit off axis, which provides a bit of depth and also gives more of a vertical representation on the coin. The print we see in focus is called mandala. It is the namesake of our series. We covered it in depth in the Warthog video, but overall I do love the print. Mandala is ancient in form and has relevance today, which means there must be something about it worth replicating for generations. That is the good of the obverse. Now for the not so good, which is basically everything else. I'm okay with having a basic mirrored background as this is a fairly busy design, and if there were too many textural additions, the eye would get lost in the relief, but it does feel a little bit flat. The font is elementary at best and needs to be reworked. I love the croc, however, and it does score a 7. Mintage is our next area, and really what we've come to know and love about silver from Chad. This coin has a lovely low mintage, just like most of their coins, and that's at 10,000, which scores a 9. Cultural significance is next, and an area where I'm starting to understand has some value. I was harsh on the Irish deer coin from Chad because there was little to no culturally significant details on the reverse, whereas this series ties native animals with that of other world cultures. I actually am warming up to this series as it brings two communities together for mutual understanding and benefit. The mandala print has Asian roots and the animal is an African animal. This being said, for significance I scored a 7. Now for collectability. This is a series that does not really beg attention by design, but has a cool theme and low mintage. I think there is a collector market for this series, but not as a mainline must-have like some of the others on the market, so I scored an 8. Our last area to dive into is uniqueness. This coin is highly unique in that I have not seen any reference to mandala print outside of this series, and the crocodile is not often depicted. I would say that this is not a perfect 10 as the Warthog scored, as I have seen a croc on a coin a handful of times, but I've never seen one that has a Warthog outside of our last Chad coin. This being said, it gets a 9, which brings us to our final thoughts and score. This coin crosses the line at a respectable 47 out of 60. It is basic in design, but with a unique theme. It offers collectors an interesting look into another African nation and is not overly priced from a collector's standpoint, though I highly doubt many stackers will see this and be willing to pay a premium. I hope you've enjoyed all the things that we've laid out today, and I thank you for staying classy and current with the culture of currency.